It was a body. A human body.
Spoiler warning. Following the first 3 episodes of Constellation, one of the greatest unanswered questions has been who killed the USSR astronaut that triggered the ISS accident. In the first episode of Constellation, Paul conducts an experiment in Henry's direction, seemingly setting off a series of events that culminate in the International Space Station colliding with a strange object before all hell breaks loose on Jo and her team. Unexpectedly, Jo discovers a USSR cosmonaut's death when she floats outside the space station to look into what happened. When she returns to Earth, much to her dismay, nobody takes what she saw seriously. Viewers may begin to question Jo's credibility as a storyteller as she struggles to prove to the authorities that she witnessed a dead USSR cosmonaut. But as episode 3 of Constellation draws to a close, it becomes more apparent what Jo might have witnessed.
It was the body of a woman wearing a USSR flight suit and helmet.
Subscribe to Movie Spy for more twist videos. Constellation suggestions a possible sister of Irina could be the dead USSR cosmonaut. Irina pays Henry a visit in the 3rd episode of Constellation, and the two discuss their families. At this point, Irina discloses that her sister has passed away, raising the possibility that the cosmonaut was actually her sister who perished in space. If that's the case, though, it begs the question of why. As a former astronaut, Henry was unaware of Irina's sister. This suggests an alternative theory. The deceased USSR cosmonaut was Irina from a parallel reality. Constellation seems to have been experimenting with the concepts of quantum duality and parallel worlds since the 1st episode. A number of hints in Constellation suggest that Henry's space experiment broke space and time in some way, merging multiple parallel universes. This is possibly the reason that many characters have different versions of themselves. And Jo cannot remember much of her surroundings when she returns from the tragic space voyage. When the ISS crew visits Paul's grave in episode 3, Jo also shows them a photo of Irina and claims that the deceased was dressed identically. The reason Henry also sees a deceased, alternate form of Irina when they are dancing together can be explained by the convergence of several realities. Why Russia is withholding information regarding the Soviet cosmonaut. It appears that Irina, Henry, and other employees of Russia's Roscosmos are aware of what is going on. Irina hints that she and Henry were aware of the experiment's potential when she warns Henry that his experiment may have contributed to the accident when he first demands that the crew of the International Space Station return and bring back his experiment equipment. Irina appears skeptical about her own claims, even going so far as to try to dupe Jo into thinking she did not witness a USSR astronaut. Henry even claims that Irina is lying when they first meet in his chamber during the concluding arc of episode 3 of Constellation. She continues to deny Jo's allegations, telling herself there's very little chance that the corpse of a USSR cosmonaut will crash into the International Space Station. But Henry's belief in Jo implies that he is aware of what might have occurred on the ISS. It's also possible that this is what Henry and Irina mean when they speak to their sister and brother in episode 3 of Constellation, which would explain why Irina's sister hasn't been around.